Good morning. How are you this Monday morning? I'm a little behind on schedule, but I had to do another live in another group. So here I am. So today I want to find out if you think you are a good listener. My vote is probably not. So, what did you guys do yesterday? My friend Diana and I went and sampled out some aloe at a winery. It was a beautiful day. So we're really excited to be sharing that aloe with people. So that was a fun thing to do. Anyway, so what I want to talk about today is people and their listening skills, which it seems like nowadays people, hi Diana, people don't have the skills to listen. They just want to be heard. And the thing of it is, what they don't realize is nobody's listening. It's just really, I don't know. The older I get, the sadder I think things become because people don't listen to each other. So hi Terry. I am here to talk about some things that can help you in your communicating and getting what you want. So have you ever noticed that there's always these people who can command a room and they get a lot of attention and people listen to them? The reason that is because they are a good listener and they are a good speaker. The thing of it is that being a good listener takes some skill, and it's really kind of hard because you just want to be telling you know, everybody's about me, which is human nature, and that is fine. But when you are in a group and you want to be heard and you want your opinion to be heard, you have to first listen to what whoever is speaking. You have to listen to what they are saying, okay? Now, sometimes people just monopolize a conversation, and let's be honest, you want to smack the crap out of them. Am I right? Okay, you want it to be real, I'm going to give it to you real. The thing of it is I haven't, and I'm probably not always the best listener, but I can tell you that I pick up on things when people are saying, when you are listening to people, you pick up on things that they're not coming out and saying, but they're telling you. They're telling you by their body language. They're telling you by the way they're saying things. And if you are not sitting back and really taking a look and listening to them, you are missing a whole bunch of things. So I don't know what you do for a living. I don't know what your life is all about, but I guarantee you there are people involved. So let's talk about a few things. Being a good listener takes practice, and I mean takes practice. Like, I find myself every now and then wanting to jump in, and I start to say something, and I realize I just kind of interrupted them, and I have to say, I'm sorry, go ahead. And at least that's triggering me to stop talking and not to just talk over someone. I am married to a person who talks over me, and actually his whole family does that. So I haven't been a very good teacher on that level, but it is the most frustrating thing in the world for me to be interrupted. I'm in the middle of a conversation, and apparently someone thinks that what I am saying is not important enough for them. Or here's the thing, they haven't been paying attention to you at all. They are formulating what they want to say about something that was already said, and boom, it comes. And they like throw up all over everything and talking, and nobody, I don't know, it's frustrating. And if you have this happen and you know people like this, you know, put up amen in the comments, because seriously, that is probably one of the most now in my opinion, this is my opinion, is the most rude thing someone can do to you is to act like you weren't even talking. I don't know. The thing of it is I learned from a lot of people. I always kid around and say that I am nosy, but I really want to know about people. I want to know what makes them tick. I want to know things, and I ask a lot of questions. And so being a good listener, first of all, is going to take some practice. So that means shutting your mouth, watching them while they talk, and listen with both ears to what they are telling you, because sometimes you might be a little enlightened. Another thing is that interruption thing. You need to pick your timing when you're going to interject something into a conversation. And it cracks me up because I am a talker. I've gotten in trouble my whole life for being a talker. My mom every year was called to the teachers in the principal's office to figure out how to get me to shut up. You can tell it didn't work. But in my professional life, I like to think that I am a better listener today because I am constantly, like, I need to find out what people need, and they won't come out and say it because they're afraid to. A lot of people are afraid to come out and say what they want because they're afraid they might get it. But the thing of it is that in the process of listening, you can tell people, you can suggest things to people to help them get to what they want faster. So take a breath and just listen to them, and then when there's a little bit of a lull in the conversation, you can interject. You can say, oh, well, what I'm hearing is this, or, you know, what I might do, you know, is this. You can't tell people what to do. Even though I would love to make a living at just giving my opinion, telling people what to do, and get paid for it. Yeah, that is my dream job. I have to laugh at myself because I hear this stuff come out of my face, and, you know, I have to laugh. However, that one is true. Okay, so being a good listener, when you're in a group of people, you also need to be maybe the voice of reason or the unifying voice. You know how people get that everybody has a difference of opinion, and because they're not listening to each other, sometimes the conversation is going around in circles. Okay, give me a hands up in the comments if you get completely annoyed when you are in a meeting. I hate meetings. I'm just saying, I hate them because it seems like you never get anything accomplished. You heard a bunch of voices, they got a bunch of ideas, but nothing got done. Look at my face. Do I look like I'm smiling? It's annoying. I hate people wasting my time in meetings. I'm just saying. So in being the unifying voice, you need to be able to, like, kind of command the group and say, okay, we need to get back on track now. I mean, I might not know anybody in a group, and I'm like, if they're all just talking, nobody's listening to each other, I'm about to go nuts. So I kind of have to say, hey everybody, you got to stop talking to all, nobody's hearing each other. Somebody has to be that person. So it might as well be you, right? Maybe it can't be you because you're just not that type of person. Nudge the person next to you. Stop it. But you know what? In learning how to be a good listener and a good communicator, you need to be able to control or command the group or the conversation, especially if it's yours to command. You can't just let everybody take over willy-nilly because nobody's listening. You need to keep your responses succinct. And what that means is keep it simple. Don't you need to show that you have respect for others and that you have listened to them. And you need to, just a long drawn out answer from you makes people tune you out or turn you off. And if you just keep talking about something, it's giving them the option to formulate another conversation in their head. Do you know what I'm saying? So in order to have people be good listeners, you have to be a good communicator. And that means that you need to make your answers short and sweet and to the point. Now I'll give you another example, and I'm using me as my example. The thing of it is that sometimes I am too short and sweet and I don't give enough details. And here's my thought process there. It's like, okay, if you have questions, you'll ask. If you need more information, you'll ask. That's not true of all people. Some people will. And then my husband, if he's in the room, feels the need to interpret for me, which in most cases he probably does. But, it's still, he's talking for me. Don't like it. Okay, if you want people to listen to you, don't be the person who needs to jump in at you don't need to comment on everything. If you have a question, obviously. But how many of you, I've spoken across the country, and you always have that one person, like you're up there, you were paid to be up there to speak and to tell your experiences and hopefully give other people ideas, right? And then you get that person in the audience or that person in the room who has to concur and then give their whole life experience. Okay? They didn't come to hear you. And I'm saying this for everybody. Everybody needs to take, a step back and realize you don't need to comment on everything. You may not agree with the person that is up there speaking, but it's rude to interrupt the whole flow of things with your comment and on how you handle things. So be very, very careful of that, because I'm going to tell you what, that is one thing, boom, I'm tuned out. I am not listening to you because, first of all, that is rude. And second of all, it's like you're kind of a know-it-all or a wannabe. And that is not a good thing. Yeah, I know sometimes I'm a little harsh on these things, but I don't care. People don't understand nice. Oh, they need to just stop talking and listening to people. Okay, cut the fluff. I am not, well, you know what? Sometimes when I'm telling a story, I want to be, a little bit more colorful. And, but cut the fluff. Don't embellish especially if you're talking numbers. If you're talking sales and numbers, do not lie about that to people, because I am telling you, they won't believe a thing you say ever. This happened to us quite a bit in the photography industry when we would go and listen to other photographers talk about their business and their numbers. And the thing of it is their numbers didn't make sense once they got into the story. So I remember one time there were 5 of us got up and walked out. We had no respect for this photographer because we thought, if they can't figure out their own numbers, why are we listening to them? So you have to be very, very careful with that kind of stuff, because if you want to be taken seriously, get to the point quickly and no embellishing or no fluff. Okay? Also, a couple of things. Now, if you're with a group of friends and stuff, this doesn't really go with that. It's more in a work or a social situation when you're with other people. But you need to prepare ahead of time, especially in a work atmosphere. You're going to a meeting, be prepared. Be prepared with what your part is supposed to be, whatever it is. Because there is nothing more irritating than to be in a meeting and people be relying on you for certain information and you don't have it. It's all part of that communication process. And when you are a part of a team, you have to be a part of that team or excuse yourself, because everybody in that team is going to be upset and not take you seriously. And when you communicate your part, it needs to not be a lot of fluff, like I just said. It needs to be, what is the information I'm asking you for, and what is it, and what do I need in order to make a decision with that? Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, a lot of people want to wing things, and I tend to be one of those. I've got a lot of things going, and you know, John used to think that I wing everything, but the problem, it wasn't a problem. The problem for him is that I did it every single day for like 1,000 years. Okay, maybe 20. But that's what I did for a living, and this is what I explained to people. I was not winging it. Just because I did not write it down does not mean that I am winging it. However, you have to be prepared for those kind of people if they are perfectionists and people who need organization and that type of thing. So in communicating with people, you need to be listening to what they need in order to make good decisions. Got me? All right, here's another thing, smile. Smiling gets you a long way. I get myself into trouble because, well, in case you haven't noticed it, I'm kind of blunt. And I like giving my opinion. And I tell people what they need to hear, whether or not they want to hear it or not. And it just comes off better with a smile. You know what I mean? Most of the time, though, if I'm talking to somebody and I say something that I read that I might have gone over the edge with, I can usually kind of talk my way back out of it. But there's sometimes I'm not trying to. I mean, what I say is what I mean, and it might not come out the way you want it to, but that's the way I wanted it, and that's the way it comes out. So a lot of people need to not get offended when somebody who's bold speaks. I mean, I don't know why, but people think that I'm always talking to them, and I'm just talking in generalizations right now because I see it all over. I don't even have to be part. I can see it happening at a restaurant, and I'm just like, I'm amused by it, completely amused, because nobody heard anything anybody said. What good? You just wasted a lot of oxygen. That's all I can see. It's like, blah, 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 you know. I don't know. People get on my nerves. Okay, and then one other thing to do is validate and share. What that means is to validate the person that you just listened to. And it's not just good enough to listen to them. You have to let them know that you heard them and that you validate what they say. Leaders need to show their team that they're hearing them. And you may disagree with them at that point, but you don't have to say it at that time. You just tell them, I understand that was great information, and I'll take that under advisement. Or it's great to hear your point of view. That way it'll help me make a better decision for the group. Do you know what I'm saying? Validate the person that is talking or speaking. People just want to feel important. They want to feel heard. Actually, if you think about it, and if you're watching this right now, think about this. Every single person wants to be heard. And the problem nowadays is that nobody wants to listen to them. And listening means you're hearing them, you're taking in what they're saying, You may be disagreeing with them, but you are hearing them. You are learning something about that person. And, you know, I might be overgeneralizing, but I feel like our world right now is very, very self-centered and it's all about them. It's all or nothing. It's their belief or nothing. And the thing of it is that in general, you only know what is in your little bubble of a world. Being on the internet, listening to clips of news, listening to just parts of what people are saying, you are forming this whole opinion without all the information. And you are doing yourself a disservice. And in a lot of cases, I hate to tell you, but you're making a fool out of yourself because you didn't listen, you didn't hear what they actually said, and now you're spouting off. So, just to wrap this up, communication is everything in our world. Without communicating and without the give and take and the conversation, no one can help each other get what they want if they're not listening. So I am just wanting you to maybe think about this a little bit and go throughout your day and start practicing hearing what people are saying instead of just watching their mouths move and then thinking about how you need to rebut. That is not going to help you. And I think that if you want to be better in whatever it is that you're doing, you want to excel, communication is everything. And if you don't learn how to communicate with other people, you will never be as successful as you can be. Okay? So hopefully that helps somebody out there. I hope this Monday goes well for you and your week is spectacular. So I'd love to hear your comments. You can disagree with me. I like a good debate. So anyway, I will talk to you tomorrow. Make sure you hit share and let me know where you're coming from if you made it this late. Okay? Bye.